Hey guys, just Pedro back with another interview. This time covering VCT Americas Stage 2 for week 2. My guest at this time is Mada of NRG coming off of their victory over Loud in, as I said, week 2 of the league. And so at this point now they're in 1-1 for this season so far. And so Mada, thank you so much for the opportunity and congrats on the victory. Well deserved on that. It was a much more cleaner showing, I would say, from this NRG squad, taking down Loud in the minimum number of maps required. So first and foremost, how good does it must feel for you guys to bounce back from week 1?
Um, I mean, I wouldn't say we're like ecstatic by any means. I think this is what we expected. It's kind of what our level should be and what it was before. So it's more so just like getting back to where we know we should be, like as a team.
Most
But it feels
definitely.
good.
And no, for sure, most definitely. And, obviously, with the season as it is and the stakes rising up for each week, obviously there was a clear motivation to come out of this with a victory, which you guys did. And especially after losing 200 Thieves at the opening of stage 2 for you guys. And so what was the mindset and more so the approach for week 2 and the task at hand and with the opponent in mind?
Um, so I would say after our game versus Gen G and after our game versus 100 Thieves, those back to back within basically a week, we realized it was very obvious to us what all of our mistakes were. So it was very, I guess, important to all of us to kind of go full focus. It kind of kicked us into second gear in a way. And a lot of our mindset has just been kind of working backwards in a way to become more simple as a team again. Like what used to work for us was a very simple play style. And a lot of it, a lot of what we've been doing in the last week, a lot of preparation has been going back to that style and kind of finding our identity again.
Can you kind of elaborate as to exactly what you're talking about when it comes to like, playing backwards and also just sort of like looking at the mistakes and that you guys had in the lead up to stage 2? Exactly what it is that you guys try to tweak as much as you can, of course.
I mean, to put it generally, it would be just kind of focusing on the fundamentals. Instead of focusing on not complicated things, but other things, our fundamentals were definitely lacking. So we just had to full focus on that, put a lot of like effort into fixing that.
Yeah, and so far so good for this team. At the very least, you got that first W out of the way. Now you can kind of build on that for the rest of stage 2. Now, going back a little bit into the series, we saw you guys go into the Corona, most specifically, and you guys winning on Haven, and continue the momentum from map 1, map 2. First on Corona, though, you mentioned a little bit in the post match interview with Wyatt and Zoe in the broadcast about like how this kind of composition was devised. And so, and you also said like it was your idea, not completely, but still I want to ask you the idea behind going through the Waylay and just having you play that, and also the rest of the 80s that you showed in mind.
I think the map or the comp that we picked was, I think the best way to put it is everyone on the team kind of just said what agent they want to play, and we just made it work, right? We had Scuba say he wanted to play Viper, Ethan wanted to play KO, Brock wanted to play Sova, and I wanted to play Waylay. And of course, Sam is on in Omen jail, so he's always going to be on Omen. But the rest of it was literally just putting trust into each other and understanding that we're picking these agents in the best interest for everyone, right? Like it's just understanding that, like just trusting your teammates, really.
So would it be fair to say that like this kind of conversation happened on the day of the event? Because as you said, it was just a matter of you guys just deciding on what you guys want to play. Is that fair to say, or is it something besides that?
No, we definitely built upon it in practice. One day maybe someone was playing this agent and said, I don't want to play this agent anymore. I want to try this one. And then that's basically how it was built. It was nothing. It wasn't like some kind of big plan. It was literally just whatever's comfortable for each person.
Of course, and for this occasion, it definitely worked out the better for you guys. And so, kind of now going back a little bit into just sort of the state of the team, and you mentioned a little bit about moving on from BWC, and then moving from that to this current point of the time. I also want to include end of stage one. And just having to look at how the team was performing at that point in time, I believe you guys either missed out on playoffs or made playoffs and just kind of got out in the first hurdle. Um, how do you kind of look back on that time, and also with the inclusion of Scuba and the return of Bonkar into the team? How has the transition been like for you, specifically just having to, refine yourselves and tweak everything up until now?
Um, I mean, it definitely hasn't been a lot of effort on my end. I think it's more so just getting Scuba comfortable within the team. We all played with Bonk before, so we all know how he likes to coach and we know his system. So it's very easy to just slot him in. And then, of course, Scuba played with Bonk for close to 2 years, I believe. So he also understands how Bonk likes to coach. And I think with both those things in mind, it was just very easy to it just clicked very, very fast, right? It was very simple.
Was there any change compared to like what it was from having Bronkar as the coach, back then in the first stint, or was there any changes that you noticed from him, in regards to like the state of the game, his philosophy, or et cetera, et cetera?
It's all the same.
Of course, and talk to me about Scuba and his inclusion to the team. Go a little bit into more detail. I had a chance to talk to him, and he mentioned about how it's been not really kind of, but it's been seamless in the sense that you guys have been welcoming him with open arms, and is trying to make sure that the transition is not as very tough for him. And so with his inclusion and his experience so far with the team, how have you viewed his performance and his play and his contribution to you guys?
I mean, Scuba's world class, to be honest. I think everyone in NA, in the pro scene, knows that. And it was only a matter of when is this guy going to finally join a team. And he's shown like everything he's done has helped the team so much. The way he plays is very confident, which is very important. And I mean, his mind for the game is just very smart. Like he's a very, very, very smart player.
And also now going over to Ethan's IGLing, of course, he's doing it in the place of Finesse, who of course retired at the end of stage one. So what has been some of the biggest difference between him, Finesse, and Ethan's IGLing?
I would say John's calling was more of like a CS style, where I don't know how to. Like John was very good at moving rotates, manipulating rotates, and that was kind of his strength. But I think Ethan just kind of understands Valorant the same way that like any ranked kid could understand it. And I think it's very important to understand like how simple the game can be. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. Like he's very good at absorbing information from everyone and making like a big plan out of it. He's like a sponge, basically. He's incredibly smart.
I also seen like a few replays of like the comms of the team during the match about like it's just one clip, but still, like it shows like Ethan's trying to like lighten the mood and stuff like that, and so it kind of brings me to wonder like what's the state of the comms like. And when I say that, I'd be like, who's the vibes guy? How does that work, and how have you guys been kind of doing that part of the game?
I think everyone contributes to the vibes. I don't think there's anyone that brings down the vibes, which is important. And we're all equally, we all can crack jokes at any point. I think Ethan probably does it the most on the team right now. Normally it's Sam, but he's also like a little bit sick. So Ethan had to kind of carry the vibes today, and it showed.
Yeah, and with that said, now you guys move on forward into the next set of matches in your respective regular season, of which includes some, and I'll list them out right now, for Lev, MIBR, and Crew. What are your thoughts on the road ahead? Your confidence level that this team can formulate a run and make the push towards playoffs?
You said Lev, MIBR, then Crew.
Yes.
So we have to go through the Latin American gauntlet, I guess, is the best way to put it. I think their play style, besides Lev, because that's kind of a NA team, but as far as MIBR and Crew, definitely very brawly matches. I don't really know what to expect with Lev. Sato, obviously coming into the league, looks pretty good, looks pretty comfortable. So gonna have to shut him down. But I'd say I'm most interested to play against MIBR because now I also saw a rumor that Verno might be IGLing. So it's gonna be interesting to play that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, definitely interesting matchups ahead in for you guys. And one more question I want to ask before I wrap this up: your personal confidence. Do you feel like this team with the tools now in place can make that push towards playoffs and then everything beyond that and even champions?
Absolutely.
Of course, and one word is needed for that kind of question. So that's it. I really do appreciate your answers and your time for this quick interview, Mada. And of course, give my best of luck towards yourself and the rest of the team.
Thank you, boss. Always a pleasure.